Hello guys, I am Dr. Richard Ben. I'm telling you something real. Seniors, you wake up again. 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., your eyes open, your body tired, your mind still on alert, and that same trip to the bathroom you didn't choose. You've tried everything, less water, earlier sleep, different routines, yet nothing changed, because the real cause was never where you were looking. Tonight, you're going to understand what's truly happening inside your body and why fixing it is simpler and more possible than you think. You wake up 1, 2, 3 times every night to go to the bathroom, even though you barely drank any water. And the next day, you wake up exhausted, with a heavy head, as if those hours in bed didn't help at all. I want you to know something that probably no one has explained to you clearly. The problem is almost never where you think it is. It's not your bladder, it's not your age, and it's not because you drink too much. The problem lies in something your body needs at night to function properly. Something it is silently lacking without showing clear signs during the day. And the most frustrating part is that you've already tried everything, haven't you? You stopped drinking water after 6 p.m., you went to bed earlier, maybe you even took something to help you sleep, and still, you woke up the same way. It's not that you didn't try, it's that you were treating the symptom, not the real cause. Today, I'm going to explain exactly which nutrient your body is missing, why almost no doctor checks it during routine exams, how to use it correctly, and what the most common mistake is that prevents it from working, even if you're already taking it. Stay until the end, because that mistake is the most important part of this entire video. I am Dr. Richard Ben. Every week, I share practical health information for older adults, without exaggerations and without empty promises. Let's begin. What you are experiencing has a medical name. It's called Nocturia. Noc refers to night, and uria refers to urine. It means waking up during the night with the need to go to the bathroom. And although it is very common in people over 60, there is something important I want you to understand. Just because it's common does not mean it's normal. Just because many people experience it does not mean you have to accept living this way. Most people believe the problem is in the bladder. The logic seems obvious. If the bladder could hold more, they would sleep better. So they stop drinking water, reduce fluids from midday, try to hold it longer before going to bed, and yet they still wake up 2, 3, even 4 times. Why? Because they were looking in the wrong place. Let me explain the real mechanism with an image you'll never forget. Imagine you have an alarm system in your house. That alarm is so poorly calibrated that it goes off at anything, the wind, a distant noise, even a fly passing near the sensor. Every time it sounds, you think something is wrong. You get up, you check, and there's nothing. The alarm isn't detecting real danger, it's just overly sensitive. That is exactly what happens in the body of people who wake up at night. The nervous system becomes so sensitive, so alert, that it reacts excessively to any signal, including a bladder that only has a small amount of urine, something that could easily wait until morning. And there is one factor that makes everything worse. When your sleep is light and shallow, when you never reach deep restorative sleep, anything can wake you up. A small noise, a passing thought, a mild sensation, or that slight pressure in the bladder. Not because the bladder is full, but because the brain never fully switched off, never lowered its guard enough to ignore signals that are not urgent. When sleep is truly deep, the brain does something extraordinary. It turns off non-urgent signals. The bladder may contain some urine, the brain is aware of it, but it chooses not to wake you because it's not necessary yet. That's what should happen. That's what used to happen when you were 40 years old. What we are trying to do is not force the body to hold more. What we want is to restore the brain's ability to decide. To understand the solution, you need to understand what happens inside the body when you lie down to sleep. When you go to bed, your body should begin what doctors call the process of nighttime inhibition. It's similar to turning off a car engine. Gradually, the temperature drops, the heart rate slows, blood pressure decreases, the nervous system stops sending alert signals, and the body can finally enter that deep sleep that truly restores it. But in many older adults, that slow-down process doesn't happen properly. The engine never fully turns off. The nervous system stays active, stays in alert mode, even when the body is lying down and the eyes are closed. And in that constant state of alertness, everything feels urgent. A half-full bladder feels full. A distant noise feels close. A small thought turns into worry. The body doesn't rest, it stays on guard. Why does this happen? There are several reasons that often combine. Accumulated stress from the day, late-night screen use, sugar, afternoon coffee, constant worry. But there is another reason, silent, painless, and unnoticed during the day, that changes everything at night. A reason related to something the body is lacking, something so small it could fit in a spoon. I'm talking about vitamin B1, also known as thiamine. Now pause for a moment. Before jumping to conclusions, listen carefully. I'm not telling you that vitamin B1 is a magic pill that will make you sleep 8 hours straight on the first night. That doesn't exist, and I won't promise that. What I'm telling you is something much more realistic and more interesting. Vitamin B1 has an essential role in the body. It acts as a cofactor that the nervous system needs to produce cellular energy efficiently. But more importantly for what we're discussing, thiamine is directly involved in the synthesis of GABA neurotransmitter, the brain's main inhibitory neurotransmitter. GABA is literally the brake of the nervous system. It allows the brain to slow down at night. It makes deep sleep possible and sustainable. When vitamin B1 levels are adequate, GABA is produced properly, and the nervous system can regulate itself. But when B1 levels are low, that braking system doesn't work well. Signals fire uncontrollably. The nervous system cannot calm down, and at night, that becomes a real problem. Think of it this way. Imagine an orchestra. When all the musicians play at the right time and at the right volume, the result is beautiful, harmonious music. But if some instruments start playing when they shouldn't, too loud at the wrong moment, the result is noise. That's exactly what happens to the nervous system when it lacks vitamin B1. The instruments start playing when they shouldn't. Nerve signals fire at night when they should be silent, and one of those unnecessary signals is the one coming from the bladder. And why does this deficiency happen in so many older adults without anyone noticing? There are 4 main reasons, and they often occur together. First, with age, the small intestine reduces its ability to absorb water-soluble vitamins, and B1 is one of the most affected. Second, regular consumption of sugar, coffee, and alcohol depletes thiamine reserves much faster than normal, because the body uses it to metabolize those substances. Third, certain very common medications in older adults, especially some loop diuretics like furosemide, increase the urinary loss of thiamine directly. And fourth, almost no doctor routinely tests vitamin B1 levels during standard checkups, so the deficiency can go unnoticed for years while nighttime function continues to decline. I want you to understand how this works, because once you do, you'll know exactly what to expect, and you won't feel frustrated if nothing dramatic happens in the first few days. Vitamin B1 does not act like a sleeping pill. It doesn't make you drowsy, it doesn't sedate you, and it doesn't shut the body down artificially. Its function is different and much deeper. What vitamin B1 does is restore the nervous system's ability to regulate itself, to reduce noise, to silence signals that are not urgent. When that ability returns, the body can finally enter the deep sleep it truly needs, not because it was forced, but because the nervous system regained its natural biological calm. And when sleep becomes deeper, something completely natural happens. The brain stops reacting to minor signals. The bladder may contain some urine, and the brain simply says, "It's not urgent, I'm not waking up." That's how it's supposed to work. And this is exactly what people who have corrected this deficiency begin to notice over time. It's not that people suddenly sleep 8 hours on the first night. The change is gradual and real. One night, they notice that after getting up to use the bathroom, they fall back asleep in 10 minutes instead of staying awake for an hour. Another night, they wake up twice instead of 4 times. And after a few weeks, the first full nights begin to appear. They look at the clock and it says 5 a.m., and instead of going to the bathroom, they turn over and fall back asleep. That's the body recovering what it had lost. Now comes the most important part of this video. Many people hear about vitamin B1, go to the pharmacy, buy any version, take it at any time, and after 2 days say it didn't work at all. It's not that it doesn't work, it's that they used it incorrectly. Listen carefully to these 4 key points. Key 1. Timing. Prepare the system, don't stimulate it. Vitamin B1 should not be taken right before bed. It should be taken in the afternoon or early evening, about 2 to 3 hours before sleep. Why? Because the goal is not to shut the body down at that moment. The goal is that by the time you go to bed, the nervous system has already been winding down for a couple of hours. If you take it too late, your body may process it right when you're trying to fall asleep, which can create the opposite effect of what you want. Key 2. Dosage. The right amount, not excess. The most common mistake with any supplement is thinking that more is better. With vitamin B1, it doesn't work that way. The body doesn't need a huge dose, it needs the right amount to help the nervous system regulate again. The doses studied for this purpose are moderate, generally between 50 and 100 milligrams per day in its standard form. If you prefer benfotiamine, which has better bioavailability and crosses the blood-brain barrier more easily, the doses are lower. Always speak with your doctor before starting, especially if you are taking other medications. Key 3. Consistency, the factor most people ignore. This is where most people fail. They take vitamin B1 for 2 or 3 nights, don't notice a dramatic change, and stop. But the body doesn't work like a switch. If you've been sleeping poorly for months, your nervous system has learned that pattern. It has adapted to staying alert at night. Changing a learned pattern takes time, not days. It often takes between 4 and 12 weeks of consistent use to see solid, lasting results. Think of it this way. If a tree has been growing crooked for years, you can't straighten it overnight. You place support, you wait, and gradually the tree begins to grow straight. The body works the same way. When you give it the right signal, night after night, it first resists, then tolerates, then adapts. And once it adapts, the change becomes stable. Key 4. Regularity, the same schedule every day. The body responds better to predictability than to chaos. If one day you take B1 at 6 p.m., another day at 10 p.m., and another day you don't take it at all, the nervous system doesn't receive a clear signal. It receives noise. And noise keeps it in a state of alertness. Same time, same dose, every day. That regularity sends a simple message to the nervous system. Everything is under control. And when the nervous system believes everything is under control, it can finally let its guard down. Vitamin B1 works much better when the environment also supports sleep. There are 4 simple adjustments. None of them require money or extreme effort. The first is to create a transition before sleep. If your nervous system has been under tension all day, it reaches the night without knowing how to switch off. Even if the body is physically tired, the mind remains active. Turn off screens 30 minutes before going to bed. This is not just general wellness advice. The blue light from screens actively blocks the production of melatonin and keeps the nervous system alert. Sit quietly. Breathe slowly. Those transition minutes tell the body, it's night now, it's time to slow down. The second is magnesium. It is the great silent ally of vitamin B1 for sleep. Magnesium acts as a co-regulator of the nervous system and enhances the activity of GABA neurotransmitter, the same inhibitory neurotransmitter that B1 helps produce. Many older adults have a magnesium deficiency without even knowing it. Foods rich in magnesium include nuts, avocado, spinach, sunflower seeds, and bananas. If you are considering a magnesium supplement, such as glycinate or malate, talk to your doctor first. The third is room temperature. The body needs to lower its internal temperature to enter deep sleep. This is pure biology. A cool room, between 18 and 20 degrees Celsius, makes this process easier. If the room is too warm, the body has to work to cool itself down, and that effort fragments sleep without you even noticing. The fourth is daytime hydration. Many people drink very little water in the morning and midday, and then feel thirsty at night. If you hydrate well during the day and reduce fluids after 6 p.m., the bladder will have much less work to do while you sleep. It's not about depriving yourself of water, it's about distributing it better. I want to be completely honest with you about timing, because unrealistic expectations are the #1 reason people give up before seeing results. In the first 2 weeks, you may not notice a major change. The body is still processing the new signal. It is still adapting. But you may notice something subtle. When you wake up to use the bathroom, you fall back asleep faster than before, or your sleep feels slightly deeper at some point during the night. These are the first signs that something is beginning to change internally. Between the 3rd and 4th week, many people begin to notice a clear difference. They go from waking up 4 times to 2, or they wake up once but fall back asleep within minutes, something that simply didn't happen before. The body is starting to learn the new pattern. After 1.5 to 2 months of consistent use, the most solid changes begin to appear. Full nights of sleep become more frequent. Sleep feels truly restorative. And what many people describe is that the next day feels different. The mind is clearer, energy is more stable, and mood is better. Not because you took something that gave you energy, but because your body finally got real rest. And when that happens, the day improves, stress decreases, and the following night becomes even better. A positive cycle begins to work in your favor. Everything I explained today applies to people who wake up at night without pain, without burning sensations, without alarming symptoms, and whose main issue is light sleep and frequent awakenings. That is the case for the majority of people with nocturia, and if you recognize yourself in this situation, this approach makes a lot of sense for you. But if you also experience burning when you urinate, if there is blood in your urine, if you have a fever, if there is pain in your lower abdomen or back, if you have lost weight unintentionally, or if your symptoms worsen week after week without explanation, those are signs that something more serious may be going on. In that case, seeing a doctor is not optional. It is urgent. These symptoms may indicate a urinary tract infection, prostate enlargement, kidney problems, or other conditions that require proper medical evaluation and treatment. Do not ignore them hoping they will go away on their own. What I explained today is a supportive tool for functional cases. It is not a substitute for medical care when your body is sending real warning signals. Before closing this video, I want you to remember something important. If you are waking up 3 or 4 times every night, if you have been dealing with broken sleep for months or even years, if at some point you thought it was just your age and that you had to accept it, I want you to know with certainty that is not your destiny. It never was. It's not your age, it's not irreversible damage. It's a system that is out of balance, and systems can be rebalanced. The human body has an incredible ability to learn and recover, something we often underestimate, especially after the age of 60. When you give it the right signals, consistently and with patience, the body responds. It always responds. Not instantly, not overnight, but it does respond. Don't aim for a perfect night all at once. Aim for a night that is just a little better than yesterday, and then another one that's slightly better. When that process repeats, one day you look back and realize you've been sleeping well for weeks, that you haven't been waking up 4 times a night anymore, that finally your body and you are on the same side, working together instead of struggling against each other in the dark. Sleeping well is not a luxury. It is a biological necessity, as fundamental as eating or breathing. And when the body truly rests, everything else improves. The heart, memory, the immune system, mood, energy, and the desire to live. Everything. You've been tired for far too long. You deserve that rest. If this video helped you understand what's happening to you from a perspective you probably haven't heard before, go ahead and like it right now. That small action tells the YouTube algorithm that this content is valuable and helps it reach more older adults who have been struggling to sleep and need this information today. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every day, I share practical, natural health information for older adults, without exaggeration, without products to sell, and without empty promises. Just information you can apply from home with what you already have, without complicating your life. There are people who have been searching for answers for years in clinics and still haven't found them, often because no one has the time to explain the root of the problem. That's exactly what we do here. If you know someone who has been struggling to sleep, share this video with them. Sometimes the smallest gesture